All right, welcome back to another NECC broadcast. We are Weber State Esports. My name is Less Than Good, and here with me is Zuko. Sorry for the delays. We've had a lot of interesting technical difficulties, but we should be jumping into game here now. We won't have a draft preview. That was part of the technical difficulties, but we should just be able to get in here in a few seconds. Here we are. So we have Weber State Esports on the red side, and on the blue side, Team Phoenix. I think Cumberland Phoenix.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we got Aatrox in the top lane for Weber. Yu is going to be in the jungle on Wukong. Goku is in the mid lane on Morgana. Jin in the bot, and Mystique's as a support as Bard, who just got buffed in the patch.
yeah, a buff today for Bard, which is funny because he's been a highly contested pick recently. We see Weber State looking for an invade here in the bot lane. Very strong with the Morgana. Let's see if they can catch this Corki. It looks like they might just be too slow for it. Yeah, the Morgana Q thrown and missed. We want to remind our viewers, so Tranquillo is actually Mystique's. Tranquillo is just an alternate account, just due to some like collegiate rules they have them play on specific accounts. So we call Tranquillo Mystique's. That's what's going on. A very fun comp here from Weber State, though, is the Morgana mid is a pick that's been rising. They actually just kind of nerfed it a little bit in this patch because of its strength. So we'll have to see how Goku pulls it off. They are facing into a Yasuo, which is interesting because Yasuo doesn't have a way to break the Morgana spell shield. So she should be safe from being ulted as long as no other form of knockup is on her at that time. But this will be an interesting lane to watch early as we see, yeah, Yasuo dashing around and Morgana just catching him with the binds.
Yasuo is going to have a really hard time with this. He's going to have to just deal with being poked over and over and over by this Morgana.
Yeah, it'll be definitely sort of a skill matchup as we see how well he can use that shield. So we see him jumping in as his passive comes up. But yeah, like you said, that poking just coming in. Yasuo does have the push, hitting level 2 here pretty early. I also love to see this Maokai jungle, as it's a very European pick here that we've seen at Worlds and in a few other places around. Into the Wukong, and as this team, they'll have very good objective support as they can use the Maokai to stall, along with the Gragas ults and the Nico ult to be able to push for him.
Yeah, the utility on this team is going to be very interesting, and it's going to make for a very interesting game.
We have a fight down here in the bot lane as we see some flashes being used. Mystique's getting out with just a hair of health as we see him flash away. The Nico also flashed in return. It looks like a pretty even trade here on the summoners, except for the 80 carry from Weber State did not have to blow any of his summoner spells. So it should be a pretty good trade for Weber State here, as long as they don't go too far down in experience or CS. Same trades in the mid lane as we see Goku losing a little bit out to this Yasuo pick. Both mid laners again using Flash and trading pretty equally, but the lane is pushing into Goku, so he should be pretty safe here into this Yasuo, using that pool just to kind of poke him out a little bit.
Yeah, things are starting off really intense with this game. We're having a lot of trades. Top lane seems to be fairly even. They just seem to be trading back and forth, but nobody's really getting an advantage there. But we got every other lane is fighting pretty hard already.
Yeah, we love to see the trades coming out here. It looks like Weber State able to get a good push into the bot lane, giving them a slight experience and CS lead on their 80 carries. The aggressive early games, the type of stuff that we like to see in these games. The top lane just playing slow, very relatable. We'll see if the junglers give them any attention. It does look like another trade here in the mid lane as the support tries to gank, but the jungles here in support, both jungles here, as the Bard roams over. The fight is going on extended. We do have a lot of crowd control here from Weber State. They're just able to lock down the Maokai, and he doesn't even have a chance to flash out. Very good reply from Weber State to be able to do that counter gank. Unfortunately, the Nico, only being level 2, was or had lost a lot of her utility and wasn't able to give too much support there.
No, she was trying to make a cheeky play and come in as one of the other champions, but Weber's team was able to just lock that Maokai up so long that he just wasn't able to react at all.
Yeah, and that's the type of setup that we're going to be looking for, I think, in these team fights. As Weber State, every champion has a form of crowd control on their team. So if they can just continue to layer that crowd control and break out the team fights, that's really where they're going to see their wins versus the more explosive kind of team comp that Team Phoenix is here. As we do have the bot lane trading in again, the Bard lockdown followed by the Jhin, just able to absolutely annihilate this Neeko. This Neeko's going to be struggling a little bit. She's a little under-leveled now at this point, and missing out on all this XP as Weber State potentially crashes that wave is just going to be detrimental to her.
Yeah, we see Mystiques is already taking advantage of all the buffs that Bard got. He is coming in and he is making it work. He got that kill, which is a little like you try and give your ADC the kill, but it's still money going into the pockets of Weber.
And we see him just again abusing that Bard. The buffs to Bard were around his heal, and he's just been able to get out of these scenarios with so little health. I don't know if that's quite maybe the exact numbers that the buffs gave him, but still just putting it to work. We do see some setup coming in for Team Phoenix around this dragon. They have very good vision control. I'd be interested to see if they do try and pull a setup here, as we see a Corki roaming mid lane to possibly gank a Morgana, or not a Corki, a Neeko. We do see the Yasuo jumping in, but once again, the spell shield just nullifies whatever Yasuo can do. Morgana ult. They are just locking down this level 3 Neeko. Yasuo not able to get his knockups. However, the Neeko gets out, and it appears that Goku might be a little overextended as Yasuo does get a kill down. Very nice play from the Yasuo to be able to stick to the Morgana, as well as avoiding the ult stun. Good heads up play from him.
It started off as a really good response from you coming in and supporting his mid lane, but then Goku stepping forward just got caught out by the team, the blue side collapsing in on him.
Yeah, it was a good turnaround. We do see Weber State here reclaiming some vision, taking Scuttle Crab, so it'll make that dragon a little bit harder to take. Neither team really able to pull off a huge advantage from that. We do see this Bard once again just being annoying for this Corki. The Electrocute Bard being crazy. Okay, the Corki Valkyrie though able to save from that Jhin lockup. If the Jhin W landed, I do believe that Corki was just dead. He does have his summoners, so maybe not, but there could have been a big loss there.
Yep, it looks like we've got a Corki up top again, or in the mid, but that is a Neeko trying to make some crazy plays.
Yeah, just trying to make a presence around the map, which I do like considering how far down they've been. However, they are short quite a bit of XP, only being level 3 at this point when they do need to be able to fight for some objectives here in the coming minutes is going to be detrimental, as Bard is about to hit 6, and Neeko without her ult is just going to be a big difference for the blue side team here. And we'll have to see. It looks like we do have some pings going in for the grubs. So there could be some good plays there, as it looks like Team Phoenix is going to start these grubs, and they should be able to secure at least one here. Weber State is kind of wrapping around here, ready to support. It looks like you might be kind of getting vision here. He's being a little bit hesitant, but they're sneaking in. Team Phoenix able to secure 2 grubs, but we do have a 3-man knockup from you from the Wukong ult. Weber State with a nice bind onto the Yasuo. Yasuo locked up really low. The flash from the Wukong, he's not able to secure. Okay, there's the secure from the Yasuo with the Wukong extended range on his Q. Good play from Weber State to at least get a kill trade out of that. As we have the Bard flash, and then Yu follows up with some tricky Wukong plays. And now this Neeko looks maybe a little bit dead in the water. She's using her clone to try and stall out, but Weber State doesn't need to engage. They can just wait and figure out which one's the real clone. Excellent plays from Weber State, as we do have a teleport coming in from Gragas. However, there's 3 members of Weber State Esports here. I don't know if he necessarily wants to be there. It looks like he's not too afraid, but Weber State is going to start trading back in on that. 1 grub is still up on the table, so Phoenix could get back in there and secure the last grub, or Weber State could come back in for it. We'll have to see what they decide to do with that. But overall, Weber State taking a gold lead in advantage for trading those 2 grubs.
That was such a crazy sequence of events, because we had Maokai trying to take the grubs and getting two of them, but you just waited. And as soon as he saw that opportunity, he jumps in, gets the three-man knockup, and then just Bard coming in behind and providing all of that, all of those stuns. Chain CC, you flashes in, and then they go into the tower dive and just get a couple of good solid kills.
Yeah, very good play from Weber State, as we do see Yasuo making some trades in the Morgana. I thought he was going to almost ult onto her, but he had some knowledge that the Bard was there, which was good for him to not go into. That could have been a very deadly play for him. As Batao is fighting top lane, fighting into this Gragas, however, Gragas is able just to dash away. Wukong is here to follow up, though. Gragas does flash. Gragas doesn't have an ult. Wukong able to chase. He has the vision, waiting for the E, surely. EQ into the tower. He might just wait for Batao to push in and make it a safe dive.
Yeah, diving in with against a Gragas is really tough because if he catches you, you're going to be stunned under the tower. But we got some action in the mid lane.
Yeah, we do have Goku once again fighting this Yasuo, narrowly escaping the knockup from the Bard, as it looks like Weber State is taking this dive. They invest the Wukong ult, the Aatrox ult. They are able to secure that Gragas and take a couple plates. However, Team Phoenix does cross-map the dragon, securing that first dragon, and then once again, fighting in the mid lane, as it does look like Mystiques will die for his mid laner's sins. The Maokai ult coming across that screen, being able to secure the kill. It's a good cross-map play from Team Phoenix here. Once again, we do see that they are down in gold. However, they are up in objectives, being able to have the 2 grubs and that dragon secure.
Mystiques gets a taste of his own medicine as he gets locked up for an extended period of time by just a chain, the chain CC from the Maokai ult coming in, and just he pays the price.
Yeah, he did pay the price there indeed. Oh, as he almost stops the recall there from the Maokai. It'll be interesting to see what Weber State does try and use their resources for here, as there aren't any objectives to take currently, but there is a lot of farm and a lot of map control they can have. So this is kind of the moment when the teams can use their creativity to see what advantages they can pull, especially as we get further into the game. You want to advance that gold lead. Otherwise, it just kind of minimizes as each team gets more and more completed items.
I like seeing Mystiques moving into the Phoenix jungle and getting some deeper vision, because up until this point, Phoenix has been dominating on the side of vision. They have had vision of all of the objectives, and that gives them a major advantage.
Yeah, doing the Bard things, as we do see Wukong has caught the Maokai here in the jungle. We might see both teams collapse. Wukong winning this fight. We do see the mid lane, both mid lanes and the supports here as well. Wukong is able to pick up the kill, and Goku unfortunately ults the Nico clone, so that is a Morgana ult down for the Nico. Both AD carries down here in the bot lane fighting. It looks like both ults traded. Barrier from the Jhin traded, and another dive into this top lane. This poor Gragas just cannot get away from this trio of the jungle support and top laner. Lots of action happening all at once. It seems like both teams just like to have moments of silence, and then they just go in on all sides of the map.
Yeah, well, that's how Weber is gonna extend this lead. They're gonna continue to make sure that they're putting pressure on Phoenix, because if they give them a chance to farm and scale up, they're going to be able to come back into this.
Yeah, very true. And if we do look at these gold lead totals, we see Weber State ahead in the top lane and in the jungle and in their support. But we do have Team Phoenix ahead in the mid lane as well. So that Yasuo is a very good carry engine if he is able to get setups from his Gragas or Maokai or the Nico ults. He does have the potential to turn these fights around. So Team Phoenix is definitely in a decent spot to be able to come back from this game. They just need to shore up some of these angles and be able to get some gold onto some of those some of those key players.
Yeah, they definitely need to play into this Yasuo and make sure he continues to be a participant in team fights, and allows him to stay safe but get that damage out.
Yeah, indeed. We do see here, we do have the Rift Herald is spawning here in 30 seconds, and the Cloud Drake spawning in 90 seconds. So we'll need to prepare to see if both teams can be able to get setups around here and how those team fights are going to look. If we do have a 5v5 team fight with the amount of ults that are on both teams, it can be very explosive. I'm excited to see what can happen here. And we do have Batao using his teleport here pre-dragon, so both top lane teleports are down. So he's able to keep his gold lead ahead with that teleport usage, but it does minimize the effect that he can have on the map. So it'll be interesting to see how these team fights play around, how potentially 4v4 action unless they walk. We do see Weber State sneaking this Rift Herald. A blue trinket is spent on it, but Team Phoenix may just cross map as it looks like they're attempting to set up a dive around this Morgana. It's not a bad option to try and go for if they can take the Morgana and then take the First Blood Tower, but Morgana just has such good wave clear and such good crowd control. She's just a really hard target to dive.
Well, you've also got that Bard ultimate waiting there to protect her if necessary. It's so hard to make plays around this Bard because he's able to do so much to just deter any advance that you can make.
Yes, very true. And we see it now. Weber State on the opposite side of the map, they're able to take both the Rift Herald and the First Blood Tower. So it's a very good trade for Weber State Esports. We see this Aatrox winning the short-term trades into the Gragas as he does have a completed item above the Gragas. Gragas actually still managing to survive pretty well as we do have a fight down here in the bot lane. Once again, it's the Bard trying to fight into this team with the Morgana, but they just have such good protection. They're able to get themselves out. The Nico ult is invested. However, she's such low level and so squishy. She just dies as the Wukong just continues to go forward, investing his ult. The Bard following up with the Corki. However, the Yasuo is able to ult back onto this Wukong. The Bard ult's trapping this Corki, and now Team Weber State is just able to get out. Goku may once again die. A good Morgana ult invested, and he's just walking around dodging all of the skill shots and the abilities, able to annihilate the Corki. And now this Yasuo just desperate for a kill at some point. It looks like he is able to finish off this Bard as Mystique's maybe playing a little bit too overconfident there. Phoenix so close to being able to turn that around. They do trade 2 for 2 at the end of things though.
That was so back and forth through the whole thing. I don't even know where to start. We had Nico turning around and really seeming to try and make a play, but it didn't seem like her team was really behind her. They just kind of seemed really disconnected, and because of that, Weaver was able to pick them apart.
Yeah, and we do see this engage here in the top lane as three members of Team Phoenix are here to try and fight this Aatrox. The Aatrox had some very fancy feet for a while there. He was able to dodge so many knockups that the Yasuo wasn't able to get in. However, the Yasuo does eventually catch up and get the knockup there. They traded a kill for what looks like is going to be a bot lane tower for Weber State. So overall, maintaining the gold to be about the same as Weber State should be able to take this tower here in this next wave. But a lot invested there from Team Phoenix for the one kill. But Tao was just able to stall for so long with such good movement.
Yeah, it's great to get a kill, but when you have to invest 3 of your teammates to go all the way top in order to get that kill, is it really worth it?
Yeah, as we do see Team Phoenix once again engaging here, and they do use a Maokai ult and the Nico ult to get 2 members of Weber State Esports. A good trade for them. We'll see. It looks like they're going to go back and be able to push these lanes out and maybe get some more damage down onto these towers. Weber State just maybe playing a little bit too cocky, and the most important thing, giving over a huge shutdown from the Wukong. That was 1,000 gold shutdown that he just handed over. So that does bring Team Phoenix back into this game by quite a bit. There was a 4K gold lead from Weber State, and now it's only a 2.3.
Yeah, Mystiques and you both overstep, and just even with the vision that they have on the top side, just step so far ahead that Phoenix was able to just collapse on.
Yeah, good play from Phoenix, and we've seen Mystiques and you playing very aggressive in the jungle. So it's nice to see that Phoenix is adapting, and they're kind of putting their foot down and saying, no, you can't do that to us, and they're fighting back. We do see that even with you going down, he is still an entire item up on this Maokai with the 3.1k gold lead. However, now the Corki does have a 1k gold lead ahead of the Jin, which is very impactful as Corki's about to finish his Manamune, and the Yasuo maintaining almost an entire item advantage up over the Morgana. So we're going to have to look for this Wukong and the Aatrox to really carry the damage in these fights for Weber State Esports, as Team Phoenix has the very capable opportunity to respond with a Yasuo and a Corki.
Yeah, this game is in no way decided. Phoenix is going to be able, or if they are able to play it correctly, are going to be able to capitalize on this Corki and this Yasuo and bring themselves back into a very comfortable position.
We do see, it looks like Weber State is attempting to start an Otacon here. However, Team Phoenix has spotted this out and they are responding with the teleport. Weber State only has 2 members of its team up here on this Otacon, and they do deploy a Rift Herald, so we'll have to see if they are able to pull this off. It looks like Phoenix has a faster collapse than Weber State is able to pull off. The Otacon's not being reset though, it's just kind of stuck here at 6k health. I want to see if they decide to stick with it and try and send the smite fight, as Weber is picking a smaller fight to try and pick a Corki down here in the bot lane. We'll see if that distracts Phoenix from the Otacon too much, as the Corki is going to die. As we go back up, it does look like Team Phoenix is able to sweep in and secure that Otacon. It's good for them just to accept the Corki death and be able to take that objective, but now Weber State can charge in here, as we see Vital was attempting to use a Rift Herald play, but he doesn't quite get it. They are collapsing on this team. We'll see what they can be able to pick off here. Using the Bard portals very well to escape from the Yasuo, as so many members of Weber State Esports are such low health. However, they are able to secure these kills down on Team Phoenix. They are getting a 5-4-0 trade here in the efforts for one Otacon. As I don't believe we have a pedal counter on our screen, no. But they do secure the Otacon and they are able to pick up those pedals. The gold lead though is now 5.1k, which is double what it was before the fight. So very good from Weber State to be able to pick that gold lead back up.
I was about to call out Weber for investing so much into one champion, but then they were able to turn around, and even though they gave up that Otacon, they were able to get an entire, take down the entire team, and they have pushed their lead significantly farther ahead.
Yeah, very good plays from them. It's awesome to see like how these little plays and how they're able to identify their weaknesses. They just pick out this Nico again due to their crowd control effects and able to secure that kill. We do see this Maokai ult investment and some utility invested from Phoenix to try and catch the Weber State members out off guard. However, once again, they just have such good ability to be able to navigate these, as we do see the Bardal onto the Yasuo, and then the Wind Wall to navigate that Bard crowd control, as this Yasuo just once again surviving barely. The Maokai is going to die for his sins as well, as Weber State may be able to take this tier 2 tower off of these plays.
Yasuo dives in and is able to get a lot of damage, but if he is that squishy, he needs his team there to back him up, and they just haven't been there.
And it looks like, again, Weber State Mystique's playing a little bit too cocky. He fails the flash over the wall and dies for his own sins, it appears. He's just jumping in the face of this team, and the Corki's able to pick that kill up and secure it back down. We do see, because of this fighting, though, this is kind of the first fights that Sendi's really been able to be involved with. He went from a 1-1-1 KDA to now 4-1-3, and he's been able to stabilize that gold advantage that the Corki did have. So these team fights should be a little bit more stable from Weber State, as they do have such a big gold advantage. So we'll have to see what tricks Team Phoenix is able to pull out. They've been able to show off some things with this Yasuo plays and some of the knockups, but they haven't really been able to connect on a lot of key members of Weber State Esports. So I do believe they have a lot of potential here. If they can get a good Nico ult, a good Gragas ult, followed by the Yasuo ult, they have a lot of potential to still come back in these fights.
Yeah, Nico has actually closed the gap on her level, so Mental's going to be able to participate a lot more than he has recently, because his Nico isn't going to die quite as quickly, but he's still going to have to be careful and make sure that his team is there to follow up when he engages.
Yeah, being able to have that level 11 Nico ult is great for the ability to have it up more often. As we see this Maokai's caught under this tier 2 tower, Weber State able to annihilate the tier 2 tower. Once again, Yu with the Wukong leading in on the charge and able to annihilate that Maokai. It's a hard position if you're the Maokai because you don't want to give up the tower. However, he just simply did not have the support from his team to be able to stay and play there. And Weber State, just knowing their champions and knowing what advantage they have, we're just able to push in and take them off of the map. As we do see a collapse in from both sides onto this Yasuo, we'll see if he can navigate through these minions. He's able to get an ult and kind of dance around Fancy Feet, but at the end of the day, he still goes down just due to the damage that Weber State Esports does have. And we're showing the power of the Jhin as they're able just to slow and dissuade this enemy team from being able to go in on them. And they can just be able to turn around and take this Baron for free as the Yasuo, the main turning point for Team Phoenix, is annihilated.
Yeah, and Maokai's back up, but he's not going to be able to make it there to have any impact on this Baron. So this is just a free Baron going over to a Weaver, and it's going to be on all of their members.
Yeah, only really the Nico ult was up for Team Phoenix, and like you said, the Maokai not able to make it in time. We'll have to see what other advantages Weber State is able to turn this Baron into. They can get it to be able to push into the lanes and take a lot of control, and then it might set them up perfectly for getting this next dragon as well.
Yeah, they're really pushing their advantages all the way. They're almost at a 10k gold lead, which is incredible. And as long as they continue this and don't make any huge mistakes, then they will continue to extend that lead further and further.
Yeah, indeed. As we see that a lot of this gold is on this Wukong. We do have Vital getting caught out in the top lane, and he is an Aatrox fighting against these two members. He's been sustaining a ton. So much sustain. However, the Yasuo and the Gragas played that really well, stacking their CC, able to get the Yasuo ult off. It was both ults invested, though, for that Gragas kill, which means that their engage is going to be a lot more difficult as Weber State's able to siege this inhibitor. Yasuo is halfway back from its cooldown, as it is relatively short. But we'll see what Weber State's able to do. As we do have the Gragas flashing in, they're able to hit onto Goku and Sendi here. The Bard ult catching two members, though, as the Wukong still has part 2 of his ult, able to annihilate the Nico before her ult's able to pop off. Once again, Wukong giving a shutdown over to this Maokai, as it looks like Team Phoenix was somehow able to pull this fight off just due to some good individual play and being able to get some picks on Weber State's key players here.
The Gragas flash into the members of Weber was able to catch multiple members, and then the rest of the team finally was there right behind him and able to follow up, and they just pick off every single one of Weber's members and just send them away.
Yeah, a great fight from Team Phoenix. We do see here as with their items, they do have a Yasuo that's on 3 items and a Corki that's on 3 items. The damage that this Corki and Yasuo can put out is nothing to be trifled with. The Jhin on 3 items can put out damage as well, but it's not going to be as bursty or maybe as immediately impactful. Besides that 4th shot is what a Corki will be able to do. So Team Phoenix, yeah, able to play around their strengths and do very well in that fight. We have a dragon that's spawning here in a few seconds. We'll see if the teams decide to play around that or if they want to push some advantages on the side lanes. As we do see, they're gathering around the top side of this mid lane, just fighting over some vision control between the top support and the AD carries. As it does look like the Wukong is going to start the dragon here. Team Phoenix is a little bit more grouped up. They tried to Gragas ult onto Sendi. However, Sendi able to flash out with a very well-timed summoner spell there. And Team Phoenix just deciding that it's not worth it for them to try and go in and contest this dragon. It is only for soul point, so not a huge loss there, but it would have been nice for them to be able to stall this game out a little bit more, as I believe their team may scale a little bit better than Weber State's does.
Yeah, Phoenix are showing a lot of respect and making sure that they stay out of the range of these champions, and we gotta fight.
Yeah, we see the Nico ult trying to engage in onto Yu, and he's just able to stall. They have that Bard ult And it looks like it's just going to be Nico, Jin, and Wukong, as well as the Morgana ult. They actually traded a lot of ults here on Weber States. Meanwhile, Team Phoenix does now have that Gragas ult and the Yasuo ult up, so they should... I mean, they have an advantage here, but the question is, what advantage do they have to fight for? They don't have any pushing going on here in lanes. They don't have a ton of control. So maybe if they can be able to catch some Weber State esports members out, as they've been a little bit over-aggressive in some of these areas, but otherwise not a whole ton gained there. It was a good look from the Nico, however, she was just stopped and stalled too much, and she couldn't really get on the key members of Weber State esports again. As we do see the teams fighting over the blue buff here on this blue side, and it looks like this Maokai is going to go down as Weber does secure that blue buff, so they're able to steal it from him and kill the Maokai. And now they're continuing to chase on this Corki. If they kill this Corki, that's a very big pick as so much of their damage is gone. And now it's just the 3 members of Team Phoenix here. They do have potential to be able to pull off the next fight, as they have a lot of knockups from this Gragas ult and the Nico ult coming up here in 5 seconds with their Yasuo. We'll have to see how well they can be able to pull this defense off.
Yeah, they're going to have a hard time. They're going to be against all the members of Weber, but it's only 3 of them pulling off this defense. And they've got 2 lanes they're going to have to watch.
Yeah, 2 lanes indeed, and they do have a lot of... Weber State has a lot of wave clear and a lot of ways to push in, but it looks like they're just going to decide to reset. They're going to get ready for this Baron, as we do see them backing. We may have a Rabadon's completed for this Morgana here. We do indeed. That's a huge power spike for her. She's going to be doing a lot of damage continually here. The Aatrox is on 3 items. Wukong on 4 items, including the GA, which is a huge item for these next fights as they become so crucial. 4 items for Jin. The Corki almost to his 4th item, probably just trying to rush to complete that Infinity Edge. We'll have to see when he can get it done. But we do have a crucial fight here coming for this Baron. This Baron gets turned over to Weber State Esports, and once again can just set them up for that Dragon. We have a Maokai ult coming across the mid lane as they were trying to catch anybody out, but they weren't able to. We see you able to basically solo and assassinate this Corki, and the Gragas and the Nico are all just following in suit. Team Phoenix just not able to gather up around that Yasuo. Yasuo still has his ult, not able to connect on anybody is really unfortunate here, as he is also going to die. Maybe followed by this Maokai. It looks like Maokai is just going to be chased around by Mystiques as he just tries to stall this game out, as it looks like Weber State will be able to just push to the Nexus and win the game. Yeah, Mystiques just once again dying in his confidence, but stalling the Maokai. Not that I don't think there's anything that he could do to prevent this victory from Weber State Esports, but that'll be a GG from them as they're able to collapse this game.
Just imagine getting chased around by a bar.
One of the most annoying but maybe joyful things as he follows with his charms. That's a GG from Weber State Esports. We'll see you all around for game 2. Welcome back to another NECC broadcast brought to you by Weber State Esports. We have Weber State versus Cumberland Phoenix. As we're about to head into our draft here, we're going to see what each team is picking and what their decisions are. As here we go. This is a reminder. This tournament is Fearless Draft. So all the previous champions that were played in the last game will not be available for this next game. And we do see that Weber State Esports is starting off with a Scion ban. We've seen Scion totally ravage several games across the World Championship recently. So very good ban. Team Phoenix responding with a Lucian ban. Lucian also played pretty widely currently on the patches.
Yeah, it's no surprise seeing Lucian and Scion both banned. This Vel'Koz is a little interesting, but hey, you gotta ban what you want or don't want to play against, right?
Yeah, it might be a targeted pick too against something that maybe a player on Team Phoenix likes to play. Yunara also banned, and then once again a Zillion ban. Very curious, interesting ban to come out. Maybe another target.
Yeah, not quite sure, but we'll see what they pick. And may looks like Weber has a plan, or like some ideas up their sleeve. Looks like we might have some little bug.
Yeah, the last ban not coming through, just a technical difficulty here. They did ban someone there. And it does look like Weber State does pick Kiana first as their first pick. A very aggressive jungler in the past couple patches. She has seen quite a bit of play. Definitely a very strong first pick. We'll see if Team Phoenix here can counter that.
Yeah, she did just receive some nerfs in the last patch, but it looks like Weber's willing to accept those nerfs and still use that Kiana. And then we got Ziggs on the side of Phoenix.
Yeah, the Ziggs pick is interesting. It can be a flex into the mid lane or the bot lane. It's usually played in that bot lane, where it's able to take a lot of pressure into the enemy teams. We do have a Skarner counter pick in the jungle for Team Phoenix. I'm not quite sure how that Skarner Kiana counterplay goes, who would win those fights. But Skarner has been a pretty consistent jungler over the last few patches. Tristana now being picked from Weber State Esports. We have to wonder if it's going to be the mid lane or the bot lane, as it could play honestly into Ziggs in either lane. And then a Poppy pick from Weber State, very strong. Can counter a lot of, any champion with a dash, as well as a flexibility to play in a couple lanes.
Yeah, we were just pulling out all of the flex picks, so any of their champions currently can be played in multiple lanes. So we'll have to see where they're planning on putting their champions, and then with a Lulu pick on the Phoenix side.
Yeah, Lulu, a good enchanter. It's kind of an interesting pick with the Ziggs. So we'll have to see if that Ziggs is planning actually to go into the bot lane where Lulu can maybe support a different AD carry. As far as our bans, we see a Syndra ban coming out from Team Phoenix. Goku is known for a very strong Syndra. Weber State responding with a Sivir ban. Sivir loves to play with a good Enchantress support, so a good ban from them to counteract that. Aurelion Soul ban from Team Phoenix here. The portrait's a little broken, but Aurelion Soul, I believe, banned. Just another again pick. Oh, it's an Aurora ban. So Aurora was banned, not Aurelion Soul. Again, trying to take these assassins out of Goku's hands.
Yeah, they're really trying to limit who they're able to pick as their last two champions. But let's see who they decide to play along with this Lulu, Skarner, and Ziggs. And it's a Yone.
Ooh, yeah, we do like the Yone. We did see Team Phoenix's mid laner playing the Yasuo last game, and he was quite proficient with it. If he is able to get on this Yone and take an advantage, it should be a pretty explosive match. As a Rise counter pick coming from Weber State, this should make for a lot more of an interesting lane. Kind of the Morgana into Yasuo last game. They're able to kind of stalemate things out and not make it too explosive, but Rise into Yon should be pretty explosive. It'll be exciting to see what both mid laners can pull on that.
Yeah, and Goku continues to show his casters and his ability. And we got the Rek'Sai Rek'Sai most likely going on top, I would assume.
Yeah, the Rek'Sai top able to show a lot of sustain. He's a very safe pick. I think Weber State may be counting on this Cassante pick coming in from Team Phoenix here. Is Rek'Sai is just able to sustain so much. He doesn't necessarily have the most amount of kill pressure. He can pull it off sometimes, but the sustain really being the key and able just to hold out in the early games no matter what the enemy team can throw at him. So overall, a pretty nice draft from both sides. We do have some tanky or a far more tanky team from Team Phoenix. We'll have to see if Weber State Esports is able to blow up the appropriate members from them, despite the Lulu picks and their ability that they'll have to be able to stall out these fights. But it's quite a good draft from both sides. They have a lot of control on the map, and we'll have to see how they decide to pull this off as we go into game.
Yeah, I'm really going to want to see Team Phoenix be able to play around their teammates. They need to be able to be there to support each other. And when one teammate goes in and engages, they're responding and supporting each other.
Yes, indeed. It looks like both teams setting up for pretty standard lanes. We've seen a lot of lane swap metas happening across the competitive scene. I'm curious to see if it will translate to the collegiate scene, to see if either teams want to try and pull that off. I don't feel like it doesn't seem like either team seems like they need to protect their bot lanes or their AD carries too much, and instead just choosing to play pretty standard here. We see this Rek'Sai trading to this Cassante, and as he burrows, he's just going to recover all of his health, making it so the trade just essentially doesn't mean anything. Maybe not quite all of his health, but he does get pretty healthy here, not needing to recall. Cassante choosing to recall as well here, but that lane should be maybe the definition of a wet noodle fight, as both top laners just trade back and forth with their sustain.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of armor to have to push through in order to do a 1v1 up top. So there might not be a lot of exciting things, but we'll see if these junglers come in and provide some ganks and make that lane a little bit more interesting. But we got the Yone putting some pressure, but just a little bit of show of force, some intimidation there, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to spot out, and they're trying to get some info onto where the junglers are. We see that Team Phoenix has a defensive ward on their side of the river, where Weber State was able to get a deep ward into the rafters. They just want to make sure that they know where these junglers are pathing to and how they can be able to take advantage. We see this fight in the mid lane. The Yone just, once again, fearlessly playing into how his champ goes into a rise, as well as Goku just fighting back. They're brawling it out, really trying to push onto each other's strengths and weaknesses. Also, this bot lane, we see the level 2 advantage being taken by Weber State as they're able to get some damage onto the Lulu and the Ziggs. However, Lulu and Ziggs showing that they're not too afraid as they're able to trade back and keep things pretty even. Looks like Goku might need to take a little bit of a back seat here, as this Yone has taken a little bit of an advantage on his health bar, and the Rise is about on the lower half of his mana pool.
But he's got you sitting in the brush waiting to help, so let's see if they can do anything. Both flashes used up.
Yeah, that flash was quite aggressive from Goku, but he just knows his champion's damage as we have the flash from the Kiana as well, and she's able to secure that kill. Now there's Poppy doing Poppy things. Mystique's once again showing that he could just roam around as he's 1v1ing the half-health Skarner in their own jungle. Going for the flash kill. Does the Ignite take it from the Skarner? It looks like last tick. No, it doesn't secure. But Mystique's is not done yet. He doesn't have this flash. Let's see if he's able to gap close with the minions. He could charge in. He throws the shield and he kills the Skarner. What a crazy play from Mystique's just to tunnel in on this jungler. And we see that Phoenix's bot lane was able to get a push out, but Mystique's is just going to get away scot-free, and that is going to put this jungler so far behind in this bot lane. Hopefully the bot lane from Team Phoenix was able to take some advantages there.
Yeah, you heard stories of that Poppy assassin, because that's what I just saw. Poppy, the support, coming in and killing the jungler. That's gotta be a rough feeling on this Skarner.
Yeah, rough indeed. Once again, we see this Rise trading into the Yone. He is able to take some advantage here. Kiana is floating around, but Yone is playing very safe. He might have spotted this Kiana out. he is going to W forward, so he's just going to go back into a Kiana with the stun. Another kill and advantage here for Weber State Esports. This is huge for that rise, as I believe that Yone was favored. However, Batal being pushed into the tower, but he's just showing Rek'Sai's ability to survive things. These tunnels, the flash, great from Batal to be able to get out. The lane is in a little bit of an awkward state. It's more Cassante favored, as he will be able to control that minion wave and maybe zone Batal out from some experience, forcing his teleport.
Yeah, Cassante was able to use his abilities and push Batal back under his tower, but just didn't have quite enough damage to finish off that kill, and Batal was able to get out.
We do see some good counter jungling here from the Skarner. He's got to find some advantages to be able to pull back from the lead that Kiana has taken early. And Team Phoenix is aware that this Kiana is here trying to take away some jungle. Their support's here to try and see if they can stall it out, but it shouldn't be really a big issue here for Dio, as he is able to secure these Raptors back. And Weber State is going to see the Skarner here on these Raptors, so they are aware of where he's at, and it looks like they may be able to collapse in on him, as they do have the pings going down onto his position.
Yeah, and they're going to collapse on this Skarner, and he's so out of offsides that
they just catch him out. They're able to throw the CC down. He tried to carry that rise away, and he did get pretty far, and they were able to get a good amount of damage down onto Goku. But Weber State was just in a slightly better position and able to throw that damage down, and it looks like they do have control to be able to maybe fight for this dragon, or just maybe even take away some of this advantage or opportunity that Team Phoenix has on this bot lane. We have the Hex Flash from the Poppy. The Ziggs with a great Flash W, though. He's able to get out. He does take quite a bit of damage here. We see the Kiana floating around, maybe potentially looking for a dive. Diving into Lulu is quite difficult, as she does have that polymorph and the shields that she can throw onto her allies. So we'll have to see what they are able to pull off here. The Skarner is coming in behind this Kiana. We'll have to see if she decides to 1v1 him. It looks like she's playing a little bit dodgy. She might try and contest this camp, as we see the Poppy coming up for support, though. This can be quite the messy fight from either side. They're both health bars are about equal. We'll have to see who can throw the utility down here a little bit better, as it looks like Weber State's just backing up and conceding those camps to Team Phoenix here.
Yeah, neither team is really willing to invest anything into that fight, which was probably smart, just because that fight could have easily gone either direction.
Yeah, flipping a game over Grump, maybe not the best option for either team, and perhaps wisely choosing to back out. Weber State maybe just losing opportunity costs, as they did have their own camps, their own things to farm and take at that point. As you can see here on the screen with the Rek'Sai, as he just kind of fights in, and you'll see that as soon as the rage bar hits red, they'll burrow down under, and they're just able to heal up so much, which really makes this lane annoying for this Cassante. So he does have more options to be able to poke into the Rek'Sai, but then she just heals up, and it doesn't really matter. Weber State now fighting over these chickens here. They might be flipping the game for some chickens, but it does appear that Team Phoenix is just going to concede, as the mid lane does have push over them. And we see why this Poppy was picked into the Ziggs. She's able to jump in and just harass the Ziggs down. Luckily, Ziggs has some range, so he's able to keep up, but it is kind of a scary lane down there for him.
Yeah, Weber State is just dominating this whole river. They're not just taking their jungle. They have the jungle plus the river plus a couple of a little bit into the enemy jungler, and they're just saying, this is all mine. And the Poppy just bullies Skarner out of the pit.
Yeah, as we do see, Skarner is coming back. Ooh, nice flash play from Skarner here, as he is able to annihilate that Poppy. And it does appear that Team Phoenix may have the resources here to be able to at least take one grub, if not get both. They do secure at least one, which is great for them. If they get two, that would be fantastic, but it's not worth losing anybody over. We do have a Rise ult coming in here from Goku, as he's immediately polymorphed, but that is a cooldown down for Goku, as he is about to jump back in. However, the Skarner ult catching two members of Weber State Esports, followed by a Yone ult. Goku is out here trading onto the side, as he does go down to the Yone. Weber State Esports losing two members here compared to the one from Phoenix, and it looks like they are able to get those grubs as well.
Yeah, but Tao's able to get out again. It was fairly close, but he's able to get out and have enough health to try and pressure this top lane and see if he can keep them from taking this tower.
Yeah, it looks like he's just wanting to come in here and maybe secure some minions and some resources. We see Mystique's here playing around for a little bit to make sure that he is safe to be able to do that. Unfortunate plays here from Weaver State, but really good heads up from Phoenix to be able to jump in and take that team fight using their resources. Well-timed Skarner ults, well-timed Yone ults. Good play from them overall.
Yeah, right now Phoenix has the vision control over the river as Weaver's only really got the one control ward on the bot side and then the one ward by the Raptor pit. They're not able to see as much going on, and so they're going to need to be able to get some vision and actually take control of this river if they're going to maintain the control that they've had up to this point.
Yeah, indeed. We are working on our overlay, viewers. We're having some, again, technical difficulties. Word of the day, if you ever get into casting or esports, it may just be the word of your life. But we're working on that, so hopefully we can get that up here soon. As we do see that Cloud Drake is up for both teams to play around. Team Phoenix does appear to be grouping up around that. Once again, Weaver State Esports, similar to last game, investing their teleport into the top lane, so they won't have that for the dragon fight. But both teams are just kind of posturing around as we do see a fight here in the mid lane. As the Yone did try and jump in onto Goku, however, Poppy there to support just to prevent that the final blows from going through, making that Yone go back to his shadow there. We see this top lane wet noodle fight once again here. The Rek'Sai deciding to ult. Cassante I don't believe has ulted yet, so he may have some advantage here as according to what is happening. Now we see our displays. We see Weaver State Esports does currently have a 3K gold lead up on the enemy team, mainly highlighted by this 5-0 Kiana as they are able to annihilate the Ziggs down in the bot lane, which may set them up for that dragon. It looks like they are pinging it and setting up for it. The Rise holding a decent CS lead over the Yone, not really surprising there. As well as this top lane going pretty even. It's that, again, that Rek'Sai's power and ability to stay in that. We do see the Rek'Sai fighting the Cassante in the top lane. However, Rek'Sai once again sustaining out and able to keep that push forward. Here we have Sendy is caught out by the AD carry and jungle from Team Phoenix. A good play from them to be able to try and get some form of advantage while Weaver State's investing resources into this dragon and as well as up into this top lane as they're trying to take out this Cassante. You attempting to go for an assassination play on the Yone, however not working out correctly as 3 members of Team Phoenix are giving chase. The Lulu slows and polymorphs are here. But the Poppy ult able to knock him away. The Skarner does jump in and is able to secure a shutdown on the Kiana. That's a big advantage coming back for the Skarner. As Weaver State Esports is just forced to kind of limp away, perhaps overplaying their hand just a little bit. We do see this Tristana's power as she does jump in on the Zig. She's able to get the jump reset and prevent him from doing too much more damage to that tower as Weaver State Esports is vying for this first blood tower. The top lane tower looks like it's getting pretty low, and if the Rek'Sai can get another crash in, he might be able to take it. Goku fighting 2v1 in the mid lane and taking the plays pretty well as we see this Poppy once again fighting her best friend, this Skarner, taking the stuns and the trades and just going to town.
As a jungle main, it's very unfortunate to be bullied out of your jungle by a support.
As we see just continuing, Mystique's once again just bullying the Skarner. However, Mystique's might pay for their crimes here. As the Skarner takes her out with a vengeance. We see the Lulu ult invested on the Yone, and Weaver State Esports is able to take a trade back on the Skarner, but the Skarner definitely not feeling very comfortable in their jungle.
He was able to get the kill on the Poppy, but he had to give his life to get it. This poor soul.
Yeah, poor soul indeed. The Skarner has been able to manage to keep their farm up despite the bullying and the abuse that they have seen, which is impressive. They have, it seems they've had to trade maybe some objectives for it and maybe their own life. But once again, they're able to play a little bit. As we see the Rek'Sai Cassante wet noodle fight, Weber State's gathering up around. They really want this first blood tower here. As the Poppy's stunned, yep, on the Cassante, and he is goodbye, as well as this Lulu who's coming to try and support him. Just not enough resources there to prevent Weber State from collapsing in on the tower.
Yeah, Lulu comes up and tries to help the Cassante, but he's just too low, and Weber is able to burst him down before Lulu is even able to protect him under the tower. They take the tower as well, and Lulu just dies along with Cassante.
Yep, 5.1k gold lead for Weber State here, highlighted by, once again, you in the jungle, 7-1 and 2. We have a pretty sizable lead from this Rise in this mid lane as we Mystique's just going in. His ability to just continue to jump in and not be fearless is incredible. As we see the 2v2, now 2v3 in the side of Team Phoenix, as maybe Weber State overplaying their hand a little bit, but Mystique's is able to survive the Kiana ult coming in for the snipe. A nice counter Yone ult to catch the Kiana under the tower. Good for Team Phoenix to be able to hold the fight and bring it back into their realm of things. It could have been really bad, especially if that Poppy went down for Weber State. Team Phoenix able to maintain and keep their gold within range. As we do see Goku caught out here from this Yone and Skarner. Good play from Team Phoenix to try and wrangle this game back in and bring it within realm. As we see the Rek'Sai ult onto the Ziggs, 1v1 solo bolo in the bot lane. Rek'Sai v Ziggs, not exactly what we like to see. The Rek'Sai does have their tunnels to be able to escape, and it looks like they'll be able to hopefully avoid the Skarner. The Skarner dragging them out of their tunnel. Nope, cooldown's still there. Not sure how that interaction worked, but Batal surviving.
Yeah, Batal's able to get that solo kill onto the Ziggs and essentially walk away scot-free. It was even under the tower, and Skarner just not able to get there in time. The teleport used by Cassante to try and get the Skarner, or get the Rek'Sai, but he's already gone.
Yeah, very unfortunate. It's like it kind of shows the power of this Rek'Sai. With their ultimate, they're able to dodge tower shots. They're able to go back in, just kind of stick to a target. Good play. Maybe perhaps a little bit of a lane mismatch from Phoenix into Weber State, as Weber State's able to secure that bot lane at tier 1 tower. Goku fearlessly fighting the Yone again. Yone just walking up into Goku's face. He definitely has a very strong understanding of how his champion can play and what limits he can push. We see Mystique's jumping in alongside of his jungler and AD carry, picking up a double kill. The nice stun from the Kiana, able to neutralize two members of Team Phoenix as they take control of this topside jungle.
Wherever this Jingle Bell Poppy goes, death follows.
As we have a trade kill from the Rise and the Yone. It looked like the Yone just got his recall off while the Rise also popped a Q into his face. What a trade. Two legendary mid laners, it appears, as I feel like that just trades across their knowledge of their champions and how well they're able to play. Weber State just taking advantage of that, and the Kiana able to take a ton of camps in the top lane. We do see a 2v1 here in this bottom lane. Rek'Sai Cassante with the support from the AD carry. Looks like this Cassante's trying to take out the AD carry. He was so close. We see the power of Cassante able to take so much damage, and then just trying to get the damage applied to Sendy here. But Sendy was able to get out. He did have to burn his flash, which is rather unfortunate for him. But more advantage just given over to Weber State, as we see an 8k gold lead in their favor. This AD carry and support duo pushing their advantage in the mid lane, and it looks like Weber State just continuing to take pressure across the map as they're pushing into these towers and now taking this next dragon.
Yeah, and that Ziggs ult was used to clear the minions, but that's about all it's going to be good for at this time.
Yeah, as we do see the feats of monster slaying going over to Weber State. I believe that should be total feats for them, as they did have the first few kills. Now gathering up to take this tier 2 bot lane tower and push this advantage. Weber State in a very good position. We'll have to see if Team Phoenix here can be able to get some picks off and be able to take some control on the map somewhere.
It feels like Phoenix is fighting for scraps.
As we do have a fight in this top lane, very good pick from Team Phoenix. Goku invested his teleport here, thinking that he was safe enough to be able to take that tower, but we see the mastery of this Yone from Retronizing as he's able to apply that damage, and then with the assist from the Skarner, take him out and take that tier 1 tower. As Team Weber State trying to pull back and see if they can pick off these retreating members of Team Phoenix, but they're just a little bit too slow to be able to get there.
Yeah, they're able to get that kill, which is great. And that's going to help minimize that lead that Weber is getting. But they're going to need to really focus in on their objectives, as Weber is the one in control of the jungle.
Yeah, Weber State taking very good control, and it looks like they're able here to be able to take out this Otacon. Team Phoenix not really in position to be able to challenge anything. We see the jungle support trying to group up to push in, but they're going to have to go too slow as Weber State just secures this. They do have very good Otacon damage here between the Tristana and the Kiana, and they're able to secure that.
And they're able to get it for free. Phoenix isn't able to respond with anything on the other side of the map. They don't put any pressure anywhere else, and they're able to Weber is just able to get that Otacon kill and just add to their advantage.
Yes, indeed. We see both teams kind of stabilizing here now, trying to push out their lanes. See where they can take any farm that they can. About an 8,000 gold lead here for Weber State. They are up on a few objectives. We'll have to see if what Team Phoenix can use to stabilize their main damage output's going to be from this Yone. The Ziggs might be able to put out some damage, but he is behind by quite a bit. He is sitting on 2 items, so he's not horribly far behind from the Tristana. And Weber State does have a lot of squishy targets, which Ziggs is pretty good into. He has some pretty good base damage numbers. But we'll have to see if they can pull something off. Team Phoenix not really able to group up as well as Weber State Esports, as we see that Vital's just going to go in versus 4 members of Team Phoenix, flashing out over the wall, understanding that he was maybe a little bit too zealous. But we are getting a Rift Herald charge from Yuke here. He's just going to circle drift around into this top lane tier 2. It would have been a bold move to crash it in on that inhibitor turret. But just once again taking some more gold off the map and getting that advantage. Now the thing with this tower gold advantage is that if Team Phoenix can be able to take that back, then they'll equalize things. However, it looks like Retronizing trying to take some gold and pressure back by himself. However, Weber State just collapses on him and able to crowd control and take him down.
He can't even survive in his own jungle. Weber is just taking everything at this point and just leaving absolutely nothing for Phoenix to take.
Yeah, I'm maybe sensing a little bit of frustration from Team Phoenix as they're not able to group up and really play together, not able to farm their own jungle, not able to gather resources. It looks like it just may be a slow bleed as Weber State just kind of looks for what advantage they may be able to take next. Team Phoenix trying to collapse in on this Rek'Sai, but he's got basically the London subway underground here as he's able just to escape with his tunnels. How easy peasy, again highlighting why this Rek'Sai can be so annoying. Going back in to fight the Skarner though, he might be in a 2v1 situation. I don't know if he's quite strong enough to take a Rek'Sai and a Skarner, but Weber State responding in kind as they do send their fearless Mystiques up into this top lane, followed by the 80 carry. However, the Skarner ult invested, it does take out Mystiques, as well as the Yone ult. Weber State is regrouping with this teleport in, and they are fighting into Team Phoenix, able to get some damage down on these carries. But Phoenix is grouping up pretty well, and they're able to hold off on Weber State. It looks like Goku able to take out the Ziggs and the mid laner from Team Phoenix. Kiana jumping back in and assassinating the rest of the team. It looked like Team Phoenix almost had like the grasps of holding on to the fight there for a second, but Weber State was able to regroup and just put them down, showing their gold lead. They are 12K gold lead ahead now, and really just pushing that through.
Yeah, they had 2 kills at the beginning of the fight and had that advantage, but then Weaver was able to just turn around and annihilate and just delete their members, and now Weaver is going to get the dragon for free.
Yeah, they get a dragon, they get an inhibitor. Now, as maybe a last desperation hope fight for Team Phoenix, the inhibitor does mean that the minions will be pushing into their base. So they will be getting more of those resources as the super minions just naturally come. However, that does mean, like we see Weber State just clearing out the jungle again. Like Phoenix bleeding on in a lot of these alleyways. We talked about the Skarner being even in CS earlier, and now he's down by 70 CS compared to this Kiana.
Yeah, and this Poppy, again, just hanging out in the jungle, making sure that this Skarner can't do a single thing without being annoyed by the support.
Yeah, it looks like Weber State, they do know one language, and that's go forward, as we see the Rek'Sai teleporting in behind a couple of these members of Team Phoenix. The Poppy catching him out. However, the Skarner dragging through a lot of this Ziggs damage. Cassante jumping in and trying to take the 1v1 on the Kiana, but she's going to escape with 1 HP as the Skarner does go down from the members. And Weber State just pushing their limits, pushing their boundaries. I'm really just trying to establish dominance in this game as they take out the Cassante in the top lane. That is a 3-for-0 trade in the favor of Weber State Esports, and this might mean that they're able to just push into this base and take the win.
Yeah, if they don't take the win at this point, they're able to go back and get that, get the Baron. So they have the choice of do they push through for the win, which it looks like they're trying to do.
Yeah, great engage from the Yone, who's trying to jump onto a couple members there, but he was unfortunately only able to take down one member. We do see the Ziggs trying to put up a fight, but there's 4 members of Weber State Esports here. Just, again, playing with their health bars, pushing the limits, living by fine lines. Weber State able to take the 2-0 victory here over Team Phoenix, ending the series and taking another win. Weber State is now 4-0 in the collegiate league.
Yeah, it was just too little too late for Phoenix. They weren't able to get any advantage at all.
Yep, and that will be a GG from us at the Weber State Esports broadcast. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back once again next week at 7 p.m. on Thursday for another broadcast of our League of Legends team. We'll see if they can continue to carry and be undefeated in this league.